Hi and welcome along to Talking Transfers. James is not here this week. He's away on holiday over in Turkey. I sent him on a scouting mission, man. Says go look at Arda Güler and those players and come back and let us know what they're like. But James is not here, but don't worry, we got it. Got a great panel today, joined by Curtis, who was here last week, of course. Thanks, Curtis, for coming back.
Good to be back.
Yeah, give him a clap there, Curtis.
A little clap or something, you know?
Fresh back out of the Big Apple, New York, appearing on Fox News and all them thing there. He's Turkish in the building.
Love.
And my brother Laurie is here, man, looking very summery, right? Big up to Laurie here as well. To talk transfers. Just for how was New York? Nice?
Yeah, it was nice, you know, first time there. It's a bigger and better London, in my opinion. That was the vibe. I wish I had a few more days out there because I didn't do a couple of things I wanted to do. But
yeah,
we're out there soon enough.
We're going back, man. We're going back soon. You're coming back as well, innit?
Yeah, man, come on.
Gonna be out on the tour. We're all looking forward to that. And on that tour, we could be seeing this guy in an Arsenal shirt, Declan Rice. Huge news about it. I don't even know where to start. Let's just take you through the whole Declan Rice saga. First of all, Arsenal put 2 bids in for Declan Rice. The second bid came up to £90 million. It was 75 million plus 15 million in add-ons, which was rejected by West Ham. Then last week, absolute meltdown from the Arsenal fan base when Manchester City entered the race, putting in a bid of £90 million, 80 million plus 10 million in add-ons. All of a sudden, it went from Arsenal being the favourites to signing Declan Rice to it being 50-50. Even some people saying, you know what, you're probably going to go City, treble winners, etc., etc. Then it swung back the other way, the pendulum. There's people saying, no, Rice wants to stay in London. You know, he's settled here. But then there were other journalists coming back and saying, well, no, Pep's spoken to him personally. It could be. And then yesterday, last night, as a matter of fact, Arsenal put in a whopping bid. As a matter of fact, a record for a British player, £100 million plus 5 million in add-ons, 105 million in total. They offered that to West Ham. City this morning dropped out of the race. They said, no, this is too heavy for us. City. Arsenal outbidding Man City. No, I'm not joking, right? City pulled out of the race. Apparently they're looking at players like Gabby Vega now. They're completely out of it, giving Arsenal a free run at Declan Rice now. West Ham still said to be, you know, wanting to negotiate the terms. Arsenal's terms for the 100 million is over 4 years. West Ham are trying to get it over 2 years. They're trying to negotiate that. But it looks like we're getting close to the conclusion of this. And Declan Rice will be an Arsenal player. Curtis, how big is this for Arsenal?
Season up that jerk chicken, man. The rice is ready, man. You know what I mean? It's dinner time. Listen, like we were saying, you've been doing Transfer Daily for years, and we all know the pain we've gone through some of the signings. I think, honestly, this is one of the biggest days in recent history for Arsenal. Not just because of the player, because do I think Declan Rice is a £100 million player? Probably not, to be honest, but I think it's the statement that it sends out, and I think to push Man City out the way, because City wanted him, make no mistake about it, you know, they offered £90 million for him, and Pep doesn't just throw that kind of money about easily, so I think it sends out a statement to everyone. And listen, I've been critical of the owners and Edu and Arteta over the years. You know, I think they could have done more, but I have to give them some credit, you know, something I haven't done very often, but we all said after getting in the Champions League, let's see how serious they are. We've seen the Denver Nuggets, we've seen the LA Rams. Are they ever going to treat Arsenal correctly? And it looks like the narrative's changing. You know, we're gonna break 200 million quite easily, I think, in this window. And then the pressure then goes on to Arteta. We've given you what you want. Can you produce? Can you go that one step further? So I think it's a great day for Arsenal fans, man. They said Man City was the shark. Well, the killer whale just turned up in the water, man, and made a splash. So yeah, man, it's a good day for Arsenal fans, man.
Yeah, I mean, Turkish, you've been very, very critical over the years of the Kroenkes, right? And they've deserved most of that criticism.
Yeah.
But do you look on it now and say, well, actually, they're moving different? You said just there a minute ago, about what they've done with some of the American signs in recent years. The LA Rams went and bought in some of the best American footballers around, and it made a difference. They won the Super Bowl. The Denver Nuggets never ever won the NBA title in their history. They've got the best player in the NBA playing in that team. Now they've won it. He's on a king's ransom in wages, one of the highest paid players in the whole of the NBA. They're showing now that they will spend with Arsenal. The last couple of transfer windows, I mean, we've seen players like, at first, like Ben White coming in on big fees. Last season, they brought in players like Gabriel Jesus, who, by the way, that was another player that last minute bids came in for him, but it's Arteta and Edu persuaded him to come to Arsenal. And now this is a big one. To beat City to the signature of Declan Rice, you wouldn't have thought that, would you?
Nah, I can't lie to you, I wouldn't have thought that. But City do, you know, out of like the big spenders, City are the ones that tend to kind of apply some sort of caution to their spending. Aside from Grealish, they have a value, and if it goes over that, they tend to pull out. We've seen that over the years. But as soon as City came in for Rice, it did make me think: are we on the verge of it happening again? And by it happening again, being linked to a player weeks, months on end, and not getting it over the line. That's why Curtis is right. It does feel like we're entering a new era. It feels like we're entering the era we should have been entering after moving into the Emirates, when we were told we can compete with Bayern, and because let's not forget, Bayern were in for Rice a few weeks ago as well.
Yeah.
For Havertz, Bayern were in for Havertz, Real were in for Havertz. So I don't understand that signing per se. We might talk about that soon, but I mean, we are now competing with big clubs for players, and this will be the first time we flexed, Rob. First time Arsenal have flexed in the transfer market, and I don't even think. I'm surprised it's on Rice, because Rice doesn't stand out as that player that's 100 million price tag and whatnot, but the market is doomed at the moment, the way it's gone with Chelsea and Man United spending over the years. So paying 100 mil for him, cool, I understand it. If it's Arteta's plan A, then let's do it, because I think we've reached a stage where we now need our plan A's. Arteta's done well with some plan B's to get us to where we are, because we've been linked to players across the last 2 years that we haven't got, like a Vlahovic, but Jesus comes in and other players here and there. This time now, I think after a title challenge, you've got to go and get your main targets.
Definitely.
Havertz seemed like a main target. That's why I won't pass judgment yet. I want to see what he does for us. I didn't like him at Chelsea. At Leverkusen, he looked good, but until he puts on an Arsenal shirt and plays, see what Arteta has in store, then I'll judge him. But Rice, 100 million plus 5 million, Arsenal, to do this. But on the Kroenke, this needs to be the start of it.
I agree.
You can't do this and then sit back.
You're saying the start of it, they've actually, the last window, even in January, notoriously Arsenal quiet in January. They bought in Trossard, they were looking at Mudryk. They, as I said, the previous summer, Zinchenko, Jesus. Before that, Ramsdale, they bought in Ben White. They've been spending now for the last 3 windows, and they did say, this is what they said, that now that we're fully in control of the club, and it's not us and Usmanov, you're going to see something different from us. And it is kind of looking that way, isn't it? It is something different.
It is looking different. But at the same time, it needs to, be maintained. It's all good and well talking about their titles with all these other franchises, but like you just mentioned, it's Denver Nuggets' first ever NBA championship. How long have they been in charge of it, of Denver Nuggets? It's in the moment, it all looks good. But if you look at the history, partly in charge of Arsenal for nearly 20 years. But are they moving different? Because it actually is four of their teams in America: LA Rams, Denver Nuggets. They've got a lacrosse team. They just won. Lacrosse is quite big in America. Yeah. They won it, right? I think last season, and they won the ice hockey with their is it Colorado Rapids?
Yeah,
I think so.
They won it.
It does feel different. I can't lie. It does look different. I don't support none of those teams. I support Arsenal Football Club. So I want to be talking about Arsenal winning the Premier League and Champions League along with all of those other clubs and fan bases enjoying.
You was an absolute meltdown last week. You was one of those that when I was saying to you that it's still in the negotiation stage, you weren't happy about it at all. But do you look on it now and think Arsenal have got this just right, or do you think they've overpaid?
First and foremost, I look at it as a statement signing. Arsenal had made it clear from the get-go that Declan Rice was their number one target, and that was why I was expressing my frustration to you last week, because I was thinking, listen, if this is their number one signing, they're signing with intent, go for it, make it happen. So when City came in, I was wavering in my confidence that we were going to get him. But listen, it all seems to have worked out well. I'm wondering whether there's a kind of timeline there with Declan Rice, it coming out that Arsenal was his preferred destination. Whether City looked at that and thought, well, you know what, we're not going to pay all that money for a guy if he's got second about coming here. So, but listen, it's all worked out in Arsenal's favour. I'm made up for the signing. I'm also slightly relieved. And I think it's a big day for Arsenal, man. You know, when we actually get it across the line.
Yeah, I'm just on Fabrizio Romano's, just some of the tweets he's done on it. He said Manchester City will not match Arsenal's bid for Declan Rice. Decision made as they are set to pull out of the race of the under the current conditions. In another tweet, he put, this is the final point being discussed between Arsenal and West Ham for Declan Rice. Arsenal offered to pay 100 million fixed fee in 4 years. West Ham want 100 million fixed fee to be paid in 18 months. Talks are progressing. It's very close. Arsenal have been confident since yesterday. And in another update, he said Arsenal expect Declan Rice deal to be 100% agreed today or tomorrow. The club is working to get it sealed within 24 to 48 hours. It's more than close now. All parties discussing on key details as the agreement looks imminent. I mean, it's been amazing for West Ham, hasn't it? They got a lot of money out of this, haven't they?
Jeez, a kid that, you know, come through your youth system and you get over £100 million for him, it's unbelievable. I think they was waiting the whole time for Man City to get involved so that it pushed the price up. You know, I don't think they would have accepted anything that we offered early on because they wanted City to get in and have a little bidding war. But I think, listen, we've got a very good player, and a player that I think will end up being Arsenal captain and probably England captain once Harry Kane retires as well. So I think you've got him for a long time in the future. Pep wanted him, Arteta wanted him. It's just a case of building around him now. So yeah, I think everyone wins. Rice gets a good move, West Ham get a lot of money to replace him. Okay, another player that Arsenal are looking to bid for is Jurrien Timber. Now, Jurrien Timber of Ajax, centre-back, can also play right-back as well. We know Arteta loves the inverted and loves these players that can play in multiple positions. Arsenal set to make a £41.5 million bid for him. They did previously bid £30 million for him, but that was turned down. Said to be going back in with a £41.5 million bid. They've got a lot of money Arsenal spending.
That time.
Jurrien Timber, do you like the signing if it happens?
Yeah, I mean, like I always say, I haven't watched him loads of times. He looks very quick, very good on the ball. Can play centre back, can play right back. He likes to do that inverted thing. I think he'll do something what Stones has been doing, where he'll like drop into midfield. Then I think that'll allow Havertz and Odegaard to play as like two number 10s behind Jesus. So I think it will be similar to what City were doing. So it sounds a good signing. Man United were in for him. Obviously Ten Hag had him at Ajax as well. Fits in the sort of age bracket, and obviously he can play centre back. We saw when Saliba came out, the season went to pot. If we had a better centre back there, so I think he ticks two boxes. Arteta seems to like players that can play multiple positions. So yeah, listen, anytime Arsenal showing ambition, spending money, I'm happy to see it. So
another player that's been linked with other clubs, big clubs in Manchester United. Remember, he was their number one target last season, right? And also Bayern Munich, who are very keen on him again, who looks like he wants to come to Arsenal. He said, I only want to go to Arsenal. Yeah. I mean, why do you think all these players now are just saying Arsenal?
It looks good. The process looks good. The project looks good.
You trust it now.
That's what it is. How can you not trust it at the moment?
Did you just say the project?
The project, the process.
I know it's been in New York, you know what I mean? Harlem. The project.
Is that what I said? Yeah, I don't know. The cameras might will see what I said. But yeah, I mean, we're an attractive proposition all of a sudden. One season done that because the way we turned it around challenging for the league and taking it as far as we took it towards the end, with a young team, the youngest team in the league. That's quite big outside looking in, especially with a young manager too, who looks like the next manager up in a sense. There's not really a wide pool of managers out there where you can say after Pep and Klopp that they're certified, Simeone and a couple OGs as well. But in terms of young managers, Arteta's really created something here, not only on the pitch but off the pitch too, with the structure of the club, the fan base. Cesc Fabregas talked recently about going into the training ground and thinking, right, everything's changed around here. Yeah. And when he asked the staff about it, they said it's all Mikel. You compare that to Ronaldo's interview with Piers Morgan towards the end of his United, when he talks about, I went back and it's still the same. So for me, that's a big thing. Yeah. Culturally, he just ripped it up from bottom up. And now we're one of the most attractive. Behind Man City, I don't see a more attractive proposition than Arsenal in the league. You know, you can say Liverpool because of their recent history challenging, but right now, especially with the money we have and we're seemingly willing to spend, behind Man City, I don't see anyone else that's more attractive.
Timber, you like him?
I like him, yeah, man. Cry me a river.
He had that in the chamber.
You had that waiting, didn't you? You had that waiting.
No, but you know what I would say though, it seems to fit all the boxes that Arteta's going for. Young, dynamic, skillful. You can see what he's trying to build. And I've done a little bit of research on this guy and he seems to have all those attributes. And it's a statement of intent again. Like you said, Man United and other clubs are showing interest. Arsenal swooped in there. And this is why the title challenge last season was so important. You touched on it, Turkish, about making Arsenal attractive now. Champions League football, second to Man City. The trajectory of the club is upwards. So young players like this looking at the project, look at that and think, you know what? Big club in London, going places, sign the likes of Declan Rice. It's the place to be.
Yeah. Arsenal could though be involved in another bidding war, this time for Romeo Lavia of Southampton. Southampton said to be looking, well, up towards 50 million if they can get it. 40 to 50 million for him. Liverpool have entered the race to sign him. Lavia said to be keen on Arsenal, but this could be a bidding war. Maybe when the Declan Rice thing gets sorted out, this one gets closer. You like Lavia?
Yeah, I mean, we spoke about him the other week. I think he's a beast. He destroyed our midfield when we played against him. 19 years of age. Obviously, he came through at Man City as well, so Arteta probably knows him. And Albert, the assistant, probably knows him in the Belgium. So I think he's a top player, potentially anyway. And I do think we need another midfielder, even with Rice coming in. And if Partey goes, which still a little bit on the fence whether I want to see that happen, but I think he's a good player. I think you've got to be careful how much you pay for him, because one season at Southampton, you know, is not necessarily a benchmark of how good he is, but I'd like to see us go for him.
Lavia?
I like him, I can't lie, I do like him, and it's probably now or never with that Man City clause coming in next summer. He looks good. I don't understand how we can be getting rid of two midfielders after doing as well as we did last season. I'm not sure about that. And if that is the case, we do need at least one, because I was looking at Rice and Caicedo to come in on top of what we had. Yeah. Now with the news of Xhaka and Partey, Rice, Havertz, I still really, ideally I'd want two more and let Jorginho go, but one more would be good. And Lavia would be a good one, because I feel like he plays quite mature for his age. Yeah. He's 19, but he's bossed a few games from the previous season. I think he's a good prospect, and he's someone that could take the mantle. I would have just let Partey there ahead of him to kind of hone his craft as well. Yeah.
Lavia?
Again, another one that fits the prototype. Young, athletic, dynamic, sought after by other clubs. Belgian international, so even though he's 19, he showed an element of maturity to be able to break into the Belgian national side. So you said it, Turkey, if the possibility that Partey might go, then we do need defensive midfield cover, and he could be the guy.
What about Rob Holding? Rob Holding linked with a move to Besiktas, and also being linked with a move to Celtic as well. Probably cost them around about £8 million. Time to move on for you?
I think he should move on. There has been some talk that why would he want to move when he can stay at Arsenal, and you know what I mean? and be handsomely rewarded for effectively sitting on the bench. But if he's going to show you any real ambition in his career, he's got to look at the way things are going and think, how much am I really going to play? I mean, especially the Celtic option, that's a good option. Because you're going to win things at Celtic, aren't you? Let's be honest. So I think you should take it.
Rob Holding?
The time was then, but it is also now.
Did you see him going to Turkey? I mean, apparently he's been in talks with Besiktas and Turkey, but
looking at his hairline, I think he's been to Turkey. I think he's familiar with Turkey.
Yeah, definitely. He's got more here than me, no?
Why not? I mean, it's a lighter league to play in. Good weather. They've got a bit of money as well. The top Turkish club, so I'm sure he could get a decent wage.
Besiktas are one of those top clubs. Great support.
But if he goes to Celtic, it's Champions League football as well.
Yeah, I mean, he could go there. I don't care where he goes. I just want him to go. That's my thing with Holding.
Yeah, listen, man, we're trying to go on a different level now. We can't carry players like that, man. He's been at the club for a long time.
Since 2016 he's been
trains well and smiles a lot, but every time he comes into the running, things have gone wrong in the last couple of years with him in the team. Not that it's all his fault, but we got to move on from him. We got enough at centre back now.
Plus, I'm sure Rob Holding, he seems like a very intelligent guy. He can see the sea change in the club. He's hardly playing as it is. We're bringing in these new players. He's got to look at it and think, you know what, if I get a couple of attractive offers in, it's time to consider it. And I think the Celtic option especially works well for him.
We're levelling up, man. That's what it is. Timber, Ben White,
Gabriel Saliba, he'd be fifth choice centre back. It may be sixth choice.
All right, Turkish, what do you make? Xavi Simons, that's another player that we've been linked to. Xavi Simons from PSV. I remember when he played against us last year. Very good player.
Yeah.
Was originally started for Barcelona, then was at PSG. Left PSG on this really weird deal in which they sold him to PSV, but they've got this 5.1 million buyback clause.
Is that it?
Yeah. Right. Although I have read that he has to agree to it, but he could go back to PSG. That's coming into effect, I think, next month. A lot of teams are trying to see if there's a possibility they could do something. If Arsenal bought him, would he even play? Where would he fit in now that they're bringing in Havertz?
That's my thing with it. I mean, I would have preferred Simons, I can't lie. Simmons, whatever it is.
Simons.
Yeah, so you say. Right. I don't know. I think he can play 10, he can back up Saka, he can rotate with Saka. I could see more sense in signing him than Havertz. Ideally, in the forward line, I wanted a striker, a different type of striker. People tell me that could be Havertz. I don't know what Havertz is going to be, a 9, an 8, a 10. I don't know what he's going to be, but what he could have brought is what Reece Nelson kind of brings off the bench, but I think he's better. You know, that electric pace, the quality, technically he can beat a man or two, and I feel like we needed one more of those options. Havertz ain't really that electric player. He's more.
He's quick though, Havertz, isn't he?
He is quick. But he's more quick off the ball than he is, in my opinion, than he is on the ball. But then it's hard to judge him at Chelsea because they've been terrible for years. But I'd take him at the right price.
Take Xavi's honors?
Yeah, I think he's a wonder kid. He got like 18 goals last year, and like I said, he ripped us to bits. I know it's a Europa League game, but whether he goes back to PSG, I'm not sure. But I think we were saying David Dean's son is his agent.
Yeah, Darren Dean's his agent.
So there's a connection there. But like you said, I think with Odegaard, Havertz, Jesus, I just don't think they can give him a start there, and I don't think he'd leave because the Euros at the end of the season, he's going to want to be in the Dutch team. So I'd take him, but convincing him, I think, would be difficult.
Take Xavi Simons?
I would take him. I must admit, when we played them and he played against us, he was very, very good. He took my eye. But then, like Curtis has said, will that move actually work for him and for us? I'm not so sure. They've got Havertz now. Like what Turkish said, I would have preferred him to Havertz, to be honest. But it's kind of looking that he won't come, so I'm not getting too in tune with that signing. I just don't think it's going to happen.
Okay. All right, so what about you guys out there? Who would you take? As a matter of fact, it's time to go into our round where we get the buzzers out and we're going to ask Turkish and also Curtis who they would like to see Arsenal sign next. Right, so we got the buzzers out and you guys know the drill on this one. I'm going to ask you, who else should Arsenal sign, right? If you feel that it's a player that we shouldn't sign, you press the buzzer, all right? So let's start off with a guy we was talking about a minute ago, Xavi Simons. Should Arsenal sign him? If you don't think we should sign him, and I want you to think about budgets and all that and what else we need to do and all that as well. If you don't think we should sign him, and I'm talking about players, that all these players I'm mentioning here are players that have been linked with Arsenal, I want you to press the buzzer. Xavi Simons.
I'm taking him.
I'm taking him.
You're both taking him.
I know we're stacked there, but still.
I don't think we're stacked behind Saka though. Reece
No, he
Nelson's
could go there
but
as well.
Arteta didn't show much of Reece Nelson last year. I know the new contract's imminent, but
Fabio Vieira had a
If you're
tough
signing a
season
new
as well.
contract, Reece is obviously he's going to get games. Isn't he?
if your starting right winger seems tired towards the end of the season, surely your backup will get games, and he didn't. That's why I don't understand it too much.
But they're giving him a new contract.
Yeah, I know. They gave Eddie a new contract. I don't know about that either.
All right.
We're a year in.
So Xavi Simons, you both take Xavi Simons.
Yeah.
Take him.
All right. This is another player linked with a move to Arsenal. Amadou Onana of Everton. £45 million, I reckon he costs. Apparently, he said he'd be willing to leave. We may, with Partey and also Xhaka set to depart. Could Amadou Onana do a job for us in the midfield if it was down to you guys? No?
Nah.
Why?
Lavia, we spoke about him earlier. If we're going to go into the market for a young, up-and-coming midfielder, I'm taking Lavia all day long, and I think the price tag will be in and around the same ballpark. Onana looks okay, but I think he is quite overrated as well.
Yeah.
You didn't press it.
I didn't listen, I like Lavia as well. He's got a little bit more on the ball, I think, but Onana still, like, that physical presence, I think, can't be dismissed. He's only like 21, 22. Again, he ran all over our midfield at Goodison Park, man, and I'm thinking someone like Arteta coaching him with ball players around him as well. I just think, for 45 mil, I would take him.
Okay.
Yeah.
Romeo Lavia.
Yeah.
You're both down with
That's
that.
a good
Definitely,
one.
that's all
That's a
day
given.
long, yeah.
40 million.
So all day you
no
take that.
brainer.
Right?
Yeah.
Get rid, press the buzzer when you think I'm going too high then, yeah?
Yeah, go on.
45 million.
Still doing
Take
it.
that as well.
50.
Still doing it.
Yeah, we'll do it.
55.
Yeah, the 5 can be add-ons.
Yeah. If I'm taking 50, I might as well take 55, innit?
You're spending
We've been waiting years for this money to get spent, bro.
Splash
Spend
it.
it.
The time to splash.
Okay, here's one for you.
Go on.
A Turkish player. For you, Turkish. Arda Güler of Fenerbahce. Young player. Some people call him the Turkish Messi, the new Mesut Ozil. Mesut Ozil said in an interview, I think he'll be better than me. Available for around about £17 million, 18 million pounds, they reckon. Being looked at by Barcelona, heavily linked with a move to Arsenal as well. Arda Güler, yes or no?
I'm biased.
Do you know what? I haven't seen a lot of him, but like what I have seen of him in the highlights for 17 million.
good.
I mean, just take a gamble on him for that.
Technically,
He looks so sharp on the ball.
only doubts I have is he's not built yet
No.
physically, and this league is no nonsense physically. That's why I think he still needs a few more years to develop outside of this league before coming in. But if we're interested and the release clause is 17 mil, then you test the waters, you get it, and then loan him out a couple of seasons like we did Saliba.
Yeah. That's what I would do.
Okay, so Arda Güler, what about you?
A lot of money spent.
Yeah, I don't know too much about him, but I've heard in recent weeks, I've done a bit of research via YouTube, and he does look the business. And if you got Messi,
By the player of YouTube, though.
no, but if Messi's saying he's going to be that good, then hey.
Okay. Arda Güler, would you guys take him? We're coming towards the end of the show right now. Just wanted to get your thoughts, just because his name's come up a couple of times on the show. And that is Kai Havertz, who is signing for Arsenal. That's done. There were leaked videos out. Probably even by the time some people watch the show, might even been announced, because they may as well.
We've seen the interview
I mean, I don't know what's
already,
happening at Arsenal, man. They need to plug some of those leaks, man.
Yeah.
Havertz, you happy with this?
You know what? I'm going to be keeping it 100 and saying I'm trying to find out where this works with Havertz, because let's face it, he's been at Chelsea 3 seasons. He's not really done. Okay, he won the Champions League in that time, but he's not really set the place alight. He's had 3 seasons there at the Premier League, not really done it. And I'm struggling to see where he's going to fit in at Arsenal. So I think it's going to be one of those that if I'm looking on the positive side of things, I'm going to have to try and trust the process, trust Arteta and co. But for me personally, I think that money could have been spent better elsewhere. That's my personal opinion.
Havertz.
Yeah, I mean, we've spoke about it. I'm not excited about it because one, I'm like, where do you play him?
Could he be that sort of like at City, Gundogan? That sort of, that role?
The problem for me is like Gundogan is a specialist in that role. Havertz is kind of, he can play in a lot of positions, but is he amazing in any position that he plays really? So I would have like Turkish said, I would have liked an actual striker, you know, a goal scorer up front. If you're going to buy an attacking midfielder, get an attacking midfielder. But look, he's through the door now, so I'm looking at it like, if Arteta can get that much out of Granit Xhaka, who to me looked completely finished at the club, Havertz's talent level is higher than Xhaka's in my opinion, and what he did at Leverkusen, you've got to try and get him to that level. I think it's a very risky signing. If it works out, it'll look like a genius. If it goes wrong, a lot of Arsenal fans will be saying, you know, why did you spend that much money on him? So I think time will tell with him.
Turkish, is he going to look like a genius or will it go wrong? What is your hunch on the Kai Havertz signing from Chelsea?
This one's on Arteta, because it seems like he really wanted him. The first one under our belts and a considerable fee. When we were first linked to him, I thought maybe for 40 million it's depth, and I get that, because there's a player in there and he can cover multiple positions. Yes, we haven't seen the best of him, but then 65 mil means that there must be a place in the starting 11.
Yeah.
I don't know where that is, because if it is going to be up front, I wanted a striker like you said, because at times we struggle against low blocks. And I think Havertz is very poor against the low block, because physically, back to goal, he's not the best. Jesus is a lot better than him, but we saw at times last season when we needed a plan B off the bench, we didn't have that. I still don't see Havertz as a plan B in the number 9 position, but the number 8 position is where he might shock a lot of people. If that is the plan for him, if it is going to be Rice, Havertz and Odegaard, then we'll see. I mean, Arteta's done good things over the last 2 years that culminated in a title charge. So I trust him to have a plan, and he will know that with 2 years left on his contract, in 2 years, Saka, Martinelli, Saliba, all these men will be wanting to renew contracts or thinking about their future. This window is key, because again, in 2 years, we'll be looking back at this window saying, that was a big window, or that was a shit window. So this season is massive. So Havertz, unexpected, but Havertz it is, we'll see.
Havertz it is, as Turkish says, and Declan Rice looks like he's incoming, Jurriën Timber, Havertz it is, as he said. I mean, it's exciting times at the moment for Arsenal. I mean, we're used to seeing people coming in on deadline day, you know what I mean? And that's still on to the 1st of September. It's been an unbelievable transfer window so far. So to keep up to date with all of the transfers, keep it locked here on AFTV. We've got Transfer Daily every day, we've got updates all the time, and we've got shows like this giving you real updates on all the transfers. I want to thank you, Curtis, Turkish, Laurie, and thanks to you guys out there, and we'll see you again next week. Shop for AFTV merch at shop.aftv.co.uk. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, Snapchat, and Twitch. We've got content for every platform, so check it out.